New digs.
The Sirius XM studio in New York.
That's right. We're coming to you from a studio not so far away. Actually, literally maybe 30 feet back.
30 feet, yes.
Welcome to the new Lancaster Connects podcast studio. It's right here in Gardner's Mattress and More. So we've been hard at work making this happen with some insights and expert advice and recommendations from our wonderful producer, Chris, at Cast Ahead. And so we put the finishing touches on this about an hour ago.
Or less.
Yep. Tested all the sound and the video earlier last week. But yeah, we're ready to rock and roll here. This is pretty exciting.
I mean, I love that you gave Chris a shout out because, we're planning this. We knew we were going to do it. We have a rectangle table. We have a rectangle room. We're like, oh, we'll put the table this way. And we get on the camera with Chris last week, and he's like, no turn it this way.
Man. No rectangles.
45 degree. Like, that just blew our mind. And
there's so much more room in here for activity.
Yeah, stepbrothers.
Yeah, so much more room.
Chris, amazing. It looks great.
Yeah.
The light suggestion, that was awesome.
Yep. And we had those hanging around. Which is what I love, right? Because I find as I age, I'm like that dad that keeps that piece of scrap wood around.
Yes.
There's some videos going around on social media. Like, it's his glory.
Like, I know what to do with that.
Yeah, it goes in the basement, rummages. So yeah, we didn't have to rummage too far, but yeah, we had these little LEDs, and we actually had blue gel lights, and all we had to do
was a little kindergarten project.
Yeah, to make it happen. But we made it happen, Captain, and we're here, ready to go.
Love it.
Mr. Connects, yeah. So a little bit about this show, and you're gonna get more of us next week as we talk about our 35th anniversary event and really dig into why we do this show. But we unveiled last week our mini docudrama, Not Just Another Mattress Store. And within that video is a part of the video talking about connecting with the community. One is going to be through the charity that we do. So you're going to sleep on a mattress that we get to you through charity. Two is going to be you're a customer. And there's 600,000 people in this county. And I want to sell something to everybody. That's a high mountain to climb. That's our mission. In between there is this show. And the reality is we can connect immediately with 1 out of 3 people because they don't sleep a full 7-8 hours that they should, which means, to give context to this, there's 200,000 people in our county that need what we have.
Not sleeping well,
that we can serve. And there's an awful lot of people in this county who need to hear from great guests like we have on today, and so many others. And then there's people who need our charity, and that's why we stepped up the studio. And I really wanted to kind of put it in that context. I mean, Clipper Magazine Stadium is about 10,000 people?
7, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people.
You're going to make the math hard on me.
So we'll say 10.
That's filling Clipper Magazine Stadium. If we want to hit 200,000 people, 30 times to max capacity. And I wanted that example because I was sitting in church yesterday and I'm wearing this bracelet. You can see right there. So this comes from a charity in India, and they global-renewal.com, if you're so inclined. Global-renewal. Make sure you get the dash. Unfortunately, there's another global renewal where lots of donations have gone. They rescue young Indian girls and teenagers sold often by parents into human trafficking, organ trafficking, sex trafficking, slavery, begging. Often the parents sell the children into that life because they just need money. And this charity's rescued 4,000 people. And it dawns on me that that's half of Clipper Magazine Stadium. So I would imagine I would imagine what an average attendance is for Clipper Magazine Stadium. I think 4,000 or 5,000 is pretty much when I've been there. So that's like all the people you've ever seen in the stadium. That's what they've done.
A lot of people.
And it really drove home to kind of give that context to you, our listener and watcher. There's always context in everything we do, and it's heavy for the people who are on our show, what they're trying to do, what Jaime's trying to do, what Solomon is trying to do with global renewal. And, the reality is it matters. It all matters. And that's why we stepped this up to make it more inviting. And someday soon, we're going to open up the invites, and right here, our guests can sit with us in studio. And we're going to give you center stage so you get to show off all the great work that you do for Lancaster County. And we're so happy to support that.
That's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I wanted to start the show. And I don't know why my phone is dinging.
That's
turned it off.
That's a new feature of the studio.
I apologize. Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to my boy Pete. He's up in the Finger Lakes. Pete, buddy from Millersville, fellow music major, watching in the Finger Lakes. They're very excited about
Canandaigua.
Yes,
New York. That's that's like Janakovo.
Look at you.
Say that. Right?
Look at you.
Canandaigua.
Yeah. So thank you, Pete. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Appreciate the support.
Well, before we get our guest on, we've started a new little part of the show, our mattress tip for you. And I overheard this from a customer this morning. It's become a question of what goes under your mattress. And gone are the days where box springs gave actual suspension, actual lift, and support to your mattress. That's actually quite long gone. As a matter of fact, in my career, entering this industry 25 years ago, box springs were gone. It was a steel grid, still referred to as a box spring, still commonly referred to as a box spring today. But the reality is what your mattress needs is proper support. Now, that support can come from a metal riser, quality durable metal riser, a metal platform bed, a wood platform bed, a captain's bed, a adjustable bed base where the head and the foot elevate. The reality is your mattress today just needs a proper full support. If you're going to have slats, no more than 2.5 to 3 inches maximum between those slats. You're going to want that sturdy surface to properly support the mattress, because all your support suspension technology is in the mattress. And all of that is where you're going to get your best rest, your best comfort. You're going to feel less tossing and turning. So as long as that support is rigid and stable, your new mattress is going to perform exactly the way you want. So that's my mattress tip for you this week.
So keeping the old box spring is not something that a customer should do.
No, because there's no magic weight barrier.
Right.
There's no surface Star Wars layer between you, your mattress, and the floor. You don't interact.
Pulled out the Star Wars.
It's a completely reasonable question for a customer to ask. Hey, I've had this thing. It appears in good condition. I spent good money on it back in the day. Because back in the day, it was like 60-40.
Right.
And if you invested $1,000 in your mattress set, it was $400.
Right.
The reality is it's taken all that wear and tear. You just don't interact with it. You don't make your sheets with it. You don't touch it when you rotate it. It's there. It's present in your life, but you don't really know anything about it. It has taken all that weight. It has taken all that movement, and it's time to support it. And the good news is that 60-40 equation is really gone. I mean, even an adjustable bed base today, you can invest $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in a king natural latex mattress set, as an example, and your frame and foundation set is 1/10 of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just look to properly support your mattress with a good support. If you have any questions like that, you can reach out to us. Call or text us 717-299-6228.
Awesome.
Well, we promised Jaime about 8 minutes.
We got
9
10.
minutes 42 in. He's a high driving guy, so let's bring him on.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, Jaime.
Great, Jaime.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate what you do for the community.
Yeah, thank you so much. So our guest today on Lancaster Connects is Jaime Santiago from Restart Training Center Ministry.
Nice.
Looking forward to hearing your story, what Restart Training Center Ministry is all about. So why don't we just dive right in? What is Restart Training Center Ministry?
So Restart Training Center Ministry is a men's residential recovery support program where we help men who suffer from trauma and from various life controlling problems. So, for example, it could be substance abuse, could be gambling, could be pornography, could be marriage problems, could be with issues like anxiety and depression. A lot of them have, anger, bitterness, resentment, low self-esteem issues. So we address all those issues here at Restart in a residential capacity for 6 months long. And when they're here for 6 months long, they're not allowed to be employed because we are doing a lot of class work with them, a lot of, how would you say, psychoeducation, moral classes with them, life skill classes. We take them out to do volunteer service, teach them to be community people, and then take them out we connect with other organizations in the community, for example, local churches that may have a Celebrate Recovery meeting or a men's meeting or a prayer meeting or Sunday services, things like that, which with all those things combined helps them to heal and get better during that initial 6 months at Restart. So that's what Restart does. Yeah.
Very good. Very important work. I mean, it's not, my guess is you have a wait list for.
Yeah, we have a lot of needs. When you consider our county has 500,000 people, 400,000 people here, and estimates about 10% of the people in society struggle with just substance abuse, not counting alcohol or drug addiction, for example. That would put a lot of people in that position in our county. So if you went by 10% of our county, that'd be 50,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I think that our listeners would appreciate about Restart as a nonprofit organization, we're a nonprofit 501c3, so we're predominantly donor supported. Is that if to house someone, for example, who's incarcerated in Lancaster County Jail, it costs $120 a day to keep that person in the county jail. So in a month's time, that's $3,600. For someone to come to Restart, the tuition is $6,000 for 6 months. So that's about $33 a day and some change. Obviously, if they're indigent, we don't say, sorry, we can't help you because you can't pay the tuition. We normally try to find scholarship fundings, things like that. So basically, we go to the community and ask the community to help with that need. And then obviously, so that way we can offer that person help who's indigent. And many people who actually come who come to us from the Lancaster County prison would be indigent, or for example, one of our state prisoners who's a resident of Lancaster County. So those are the kind of funds we're saving taxpayers. When you think about, if you do the math, right, $21,000 for 6 months compared to $6,000 to be at Restart is a big difference. And that's just one area where we were being an asset to the community as an organization. Yeah.
So it really begs the question: why aren't we as a society with a government taking that last 6 months of time of sentence and directing it to programs like yours?
Right. Yeah. So obviously, we have the debate in our culture of separation of church and state. So then now we don't take state funding at Restart because we are a faith-based organization. Now anyone of any faith can come to Restart, so we'll help anybody. It doesn't matter what their faith is or if they're an atheist. None of that really matters. The real question is, do they want help? And we explain to them that our platform is a faith-based platform from a Judeo-Christian perspective. And that is our approach to recovery support at Restart. And if they think that would be helpful to them, they're welcome to come. If not, then we refer them to another place we think that would meet their need. There are obviously some people that come to us that we're not really able to help them, so we refer them to organizations. For example, at Restart, we don't accept people who commit a sexual offense, though those people need help. So we refer them to another organization called New Persons Ministry, located in Lancaster and Reading, Pennsylvania, who does help those folks, but we ourselves cannot here. But anyone else outside of that, we can help here with their problems. I believe the average, if you look up the national statistics from the Drug Abuse Center, it says Pennsylvania on average spends about $50,000 a year on someone who suffers from substance abuse alone. That's not counting their depression, their anxiety, their anger problems, or whatever they got going on. And so again, when you think $56,000 a year compared to $6,000 for 6 months, a huge difference of how we are able to save taxpayers literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can house up to, in this particular facility, about 20 men. And Restart is a 2-phase program. First phase is the initial 6 months. And then when then when the guy completes the program, if he doesn't have somewhere to go, then this new facility we just purchased here in June, we're looking for 7-8 years for a facility to purchase, and had to get out of the old farmhouse we were in. Then we ran it from an Amish minister in the East Lampeter, Strasbourg area. So when they finish, we now have what we call second phase rooms where they can rent a room from us, and we help them find employment in the community, get them connected to a local church. We actually get them to continue doing what we taught them, which is to have a mentor in your life, have a counselor to help process your personal blocks, have someone help you manage your finances, and get into some kind of support groups, whether it's a 12-step Celebrate Recovery type of group, or a men's group, or men's Bible study, or something to that effect, so that way they can continue to heal and get better. Because if not, then what we would say relapse or addiction, they're going to relapse, and theology would say they're going to backslide. So yeah.
So there's two things I want to point out. One, Chris, if you could just leave on the screen what you got there, the schedule of each day. I want to get to that, but Jaime, you're connected to this work in a very personal way. Could you?
Yes, I am.
Can you share your story there?
Yeah. So I grew up in how I got involved with working in nonprofit recovery support program was I myself suffered from 12 years of addiction, believe it or not, under the age of 20. So starting at 8 years old, I was born in a home with, I'm a Puerto Rican descent, first generation born in the state of New Jersey, Elizabeth, New Jersey, where I was born, and I grew up in Long Branch, New Jersey, just about an hour south of Brooklyn, New York. Before I moved when I first got here, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But I quickly learned we got to say like the Dutch people, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And so moved here in January 87 and been here ever since. And so in my home, my father was a chronic alcoholic. He was a Korean War veteran, but he was a chronic alcoholic. So that means ever since I can remember, he always drank. And he was normally a very dangerous, angry person when he was under the influence of alcohol. And when he was sober, he was unapproachable. If you tried to approach him, he would threaten you with a spanking, or to beat you. So you didn't get no nurturing from him when he was sober. And when he was drunk, he wanted to be nurturing or friendly, but he was just unpredictable because he was, completely under the influence of alcohol. And so you were scared of him then. And unfortunately, my mother, who was born in 1930, during Depression in Puerto Rico, her parents died very young, so she never went to school. So she was illiterate, so she couldn't read or write Spanish or English, and only spoke Spanish. And so my father, obviously, he was in the military, so he was well educated in the United States Army, and in the Korean War and all that. And so he would only speak to me Spanish when he was sober, and he didn't speak much to me when he was sober. And when he was drunk, always in English. So I didn't learn Spanish as good as I could, or obviously I couldn't learn how to read and write it because Dad didn't show me. Mom could read to me because she could read, and she suffered from schizophrenia. So growing up in his home was very chaotic. So almost on a daily, you seen a lot of screaming and yelling, a lot of verbal fighting, a lot of physical fighting, a lot of throwing of things, breaking things, all of that. So my background is I have a master's degree in licensed professional counseling and a bachelor's degree in business and church administration or leadership. And so we have what we call ACE. It stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. So in plain English, we would say that, I experienced all forms of abuse a child can check off on the ACE questionnaire. So whatever the question is, hey, were you sexually abused, physically abused, verbally abused, emotionally abused, were you abandoned, neglected, etc., I would check those things off on that questionnaire because that's what I experienced growing up as a child. And so unfortunately that affected my life. And so that resulted in me, spending more time in the city, on the streets, because it was scary to be at home. But unfortunately, when you're 8 years old, 7 years old, whatever years old, spending your time on the streets in Long Branch, New Jersey, where I grew up, the older children who will teach me, to use drugs, to drink hard liquor with them, besides what I learned from my dad, drinking hard liquor and beer. And then again, began asking me to get involved in criminal behavior with them. So unfortunately, by the time I was 10 years old, they had me watching outside while they were robbing a house. And that was the first time I got in trouble with the law at 10 years old. Went to court, didn't really understand what was going on, but knew I was in trouble. And so by the time I was 13 years old, became extremely addicted to drugs and alcohol, where I just began continuing this criminal behavior of breaking and entering of people's homes, robbing cars. And then, so how I wound up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, my oldest brother met the mother of his children here, and he moved here and convinced my family to all move here. And so they all moved here, but I was incarcerated at the age of 13 for my first 3 years as a juvenile, which I think I did almost a year of that time, got out. A month later, I was back in front of the same judge again, and he gave me additional 3 years, which I maxed those out. So I spent, most of my teenage life incarcerated, and actually through the through the decade of 1980 to 1990, 8 years. Roughly 8 years of my life incarcerated out of that decade. So my reason for moving to Lancaster County was maybe if I move to this kind of laid back, rural type county where I don't know anybody, and perhaps I can change my life and become a better person. So yeah, so I moved here in January '87, and believe it or not, I got a job. I think I was 18 years old then, or 19, going on 20 in '87. Yeah, I was 19 going on 20. And I got a job at Hasbro Company Place Group Incorporated. It used to be open on Pitney Road, there where Wise's is, off Philadelphia Pike and where King Street is. And so I got a job there, working 3 to 11, paying me $7.55 an hour way back then. I don't know what that would be today, maybe $20, $21 an hour. And for some guy who got his GED, out of juvenile jail, I thought that was pretty good. And so we worked to 3:11. And unfortunately, I started meeting my coworkers, and we would get off at work at 11 p.m. and then go to the bar and be there to close and drinking. So that got me back to drinking again and right back into my addiction. So after a while, I didn't want to really work anymore. I just wanted to drink and get high again and again, because I not addressed my trauma in my life that was still there. And so but unfortunately, I did make a vow, which was if I moved from New Jersey to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and I couldn't change my life, and I went back to being a drug and alcoholic, that, I'm just going to commit suicide, because I just couldn't live this way anymore. And unfortunately, my brother did when I was 15 or 16, spending that second 3 years in Jamesburg juvenile jail in the state of New Jersey. I got the call. My brother, unfortunately, committed suicide, took his life at 20 years old, left his wife and infant child behind. And by the time I got the news, they already had buried him and gave his organs to help someone else live. So that, I just created more trauma in me, more anger and resentment, and just the whole 9 yards. So anyway, here I am now in Lancaster, and so I don't want to go to work so I can't earn money that way. I wasn't what some people call functional addict, where they have an addiction and keep a job for a while. I was a dysfunctional addict. I couldn't keep a job at all. So unfortunately, I chose, my crimes became more and more violent. So I chose to hold up convenience stores. And then particularly, I was holding up the Turkey Hill mini markets, which you understand, I would go into that convenience store and I would tell the cashier, hey, give me the money out of that register. And if you don't, I would threaten to kill them. And if they didn't respond, then unfortunately, I would resort to violence to force them to give me the money out of the register. So then, thank God, I got caught on February 27th of 1988, right after I committed one of those crimes, sometime in the middle of the morning, because it was after the bar closed. And so, I got put into the county jail. Was super crowded, because the area, I guess, where the old county jail before they built on, they had a gymnasium, I guess, where they allowed people to exercise in the prison. Where they had it was like a homeless shelter. They had all cots in there because the prison was overcrowded. And so that's where I wound up. I don't remember even how getting there. I just remember waking up because an inmate grabbed my foot and woke me up and said I had to go for breakfast. And obviously I was not in a very friendly mood at that moment. So I threatened him not to touch me again. And he grabbed my foot again. So I got up, and it happened to be a fellow Puerto Rican, and I assaulted him at that time. And so then the prison guards came with the dogs and subdued me. They put me in lockup for 2 weeks by myself in a cell. And so they gave me a mattress on the floor. They gave me a pillow, a pillowcase, no sheet, blanket. So what I would do was I would shake the bars and yell out for the correction officer, as we say in prison, for short, the CO. Now I would say, CO, I'm cold. I need a blanket. I need a sheet. Now the reason I was screaming and yelling for that blanket or that sheet is because I want to hang myself on the bars. Mm-hmm. And so I was one of those personalities in my brokenness that once I made up my mind, it's very stubborn. It wasn't going to change my mind. And so I was going to hang myself on the bars because no one would have seen it, and it would have been over. But for 2 weeks, the CO would not give me a sheet or blanket. He would tell me, "Hey, Santiago, the prison's overcrowded. We don't have an extra sheet of blankets. So shut up and stop asking me." But I didn't stop asking. And so finally, my 2 weeks up in the lockup, or as inmates call it, the hole, finished, and I got out of the hole, and then I got put into the general population. And I was really angry because now what we would call here as the inmates call it, the free world. I had, right, Ben and Jeff, I happen to have a roommate, but in jail, cellmate. So now I have a cellmate. So I'm thinking, how am I going to kill myself with this cellmate here? Because he'll call the officer and say, "Hey, this guy's trying to kill himself." So I said, well, I'll just wait till what we say in jail, yard out, meaning he would exit the cell, and maybe they let him go outside inside the walls of the Lancaster County Jail, where you can go on the grass there, or something inside the prison. So I'll wait for them to yard out. And so and then I'll wait for the guard to come through and see how long it takes him to count to see how many guys didn't go out. And then I'll count how long that took and then hang myself, because that'll give me enough time before it comes around. So what I didn't count on was when I went into the cell. As soon as I went to the cell and put myself on the bed, the bunk bed above this other inmate, he said to me, "Hey man, you want to go to chapel?" And I was like, "Chapel? What is chapel?" I don't think I ever heard of the word chapel in my life, because I never went to church in my life, right? So I didn't know who God was, or like if you were to say who's God, I think he's a guy on top of that building on that cross. That's who God. I don't know who God is. But because I went to church, right? So he's asking me to go to chapel. I'm saying, chapel. So finally I said, "Do you mean church, man?" He goes, "Yeah, church." I said, "No, man, I don't go to church. Don't ask me to go to church." And he kept asking me. So I said, "You know what? I'm just going to beat this guy up so he leaves me alone." So that's what I was going to do. I was about to assault this guy. He's asking me to go to chapel, which is insane, right? And a voice popped in my head, this voice said, "Jaime, this guy didn't do nothing to you, man. So tell him you go with him one time, and if you don't like it, don't ask me again, because I can't control what I'll do to you." So that's what I said to him. I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to go with you one time, man. And if I don't like it, don't ask me again, because I can't control what I'll do to you." So he was like, "Hey, man, you don't have to go at all. It's okay, man." And I said, "No, man, no, it's okay. You asked me. I'm going to go one time. But I'm telling you, if I don't like it, don't ask me again, because I can't control what I do to you." Because, I grew up, unfortunately, with the violence at home, very violent, because that's what I learned, right? I learned to be violent because that's what I was taught, right? Though being violent, obviously, is extremely unhealthy. And so I go to this chapel and squeeze in this little tiny room, not much bigger than my office here, about 30 or 40 of us squeeze in this office, in this room. And the chaplain is sharing, the gospel of Jesus Christ to us guys in this chapel. And this is the first time I'm hearing it in my life. And so he starts, God created this man named Adam, this woman named Eve, and put him in this garden. And, told him don't eat from this particular tree, known as the knowledge of good and evil, and all that. So long story short, he shares from that all the way to the virgin birth of Jesus Christ that we normally celebrate in Christmas. And that he was, Mary was, the Holy Spirit got her impregnated by God's son, and she gave birth to him, and he lived his life, and then he died on the cross for my sins. So he kept saying that if I asked this God to forgive me of my sins, he would forgive me, and I could have a relationship, and he loves me. And so I grew up, Ben and Jeff, growing up, like if I disappear, no one would miss me, right? If Jaime disappeared, no one would miss him. No one loves me. No one cares about me, that kind of thing. And that's how I grew up, just feeling like, my life didn't matter. No one cares. Who cares if I disappear, if I die? No one would, because I just never got no nurturing growing up home, just did not get no love. Now I got to a degree, my physical needs met, but no love. And obviously a lot of hurt, pain, and abuse. So here I am hearing for the first time. And I was like, in my mind, I thought about all the terrible things I've done in my life, all my behaviors, all the lying, the drug addiction, the alcoholism, the violence, the criminal behavior, all the innocent people I heard with my hurt and pain that had nothing to do with it, that I violated somehow through my addiction and criminal behavior. And I said, and my mind was like, there's no way this God will forgive me. There's just no way. So as I was thinking that, the chaplain says, he'll forgive you. He'll forgive you anything you did. I'm thinking, what? Is this God reading my mind? What's going on? I didn't know what's going on. I was like, what's going on here? And he said, I couldn't understand what was going on. And so he kept sharing. So after a while, like this video of my life just went by. And I was like, and I said, you mean to tell me this God will forgive me for this and this and this and this and this and this? And as I was thinking that same thing, the chaplain says, he'll forgive me for it. And I'm like, what is going on? So after a while, he says, hey, I'm going to
turn for you.
Sir?
Was that the moment it turned for you?
Yes, sir. That's when he said, hey, I'm going to invite you to pray with me if you want to give your life to God. And so that's what I did, right? I stood up. We had a little rule in jail, no crying, because if you cry, it's a sign of weakness. And so then, people will take advantage of you. But, when he had me stand up, he sang this old spiritual call, for those tears I died, an old spiritual call, for those tears I died. So he's playing that guitar, he's singing that, that song touched me deeply. And I just began weeping like a baby. I couldn't, like Niagara Falls, just weeping and weeping. And so then I just prayed the prayer he told me to pray and believed him. And I remember that day, felt like someone just...
It's the weight lifted right off. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you could share it. I wanted people to hear it because I think it's important if you're somebody who knows someone that can benefit from what Jaime does at Restart, or you're listening and you're like, I've got some problems that I just can't address. I really need help with. I wanted you to know the person here leading Restart has been in your shoes.
Right.
And so we let you go. We let you rap. We let you throw it out there because it's important. It's not obviously just a flash in the pan. Right. This is your life's work because it has been your life.
Exactly.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. So feeling that weight lifted off of me. So, just to help our listeners to understand, the immediate feeling that I had for the first time in my life at the age of 20 was peace. And man, I drank Jack Daniels out of the bottle, Southern Comfort. I don't want to name them all, but I was a hard liquor drinker, beers, tried every drug I can, never experienced peace in my life. And here for the first time at the age of 20 in Lancaster County Prison, I heard the gospel of Jesus Christ and just believed what this chaplain said and gave my life to God. And bam, instantly I had peace. And then for the first time in my life, I felt love. And the immediate reaction was, man, my life will never be the same again. So this was 57. I'm going to be 58 this year, Lord willing. And 37 years ago, I never went back to drugs and alcohol ever again. Went on to do my 2.5-year sentence, what I deserved for what I did, and got out. Put myself in Teen Challenge program voluntarily. After getting out, had the option of going to 2 different higher academic places, and people from the community, Christian people want to pay for me, business people want to pay for me to go, and then to Christian business people like yourselves saying, "Why don't you come live with us? We'll give you a job in our company." I turned them all down, went to Teen Challenge. The reason why I did, because I knew that I needed more work on the inside. That the 2.5 years I did in jail, and learning to walk with God and going to Bible studies and all that kind of stuff was helpful to me. But I just knew that I needed help to change and to continue to heal and get better. So I went to Teen Challenge, and it was well worth it. So never went back to jail ever since I got out in 1990. And the last time I would have ever touched drugs out would have been the February 27th of 1988. It never relapsed once, thank God. And so that's the reason why, long answer to
Yeah.
of why I do what I do here at Restart Training Center Ministry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's more, you do a whole lot more than just helping those who are broken. You help those
Yeah.
broken heal from that hurt and really give a foundation.
Yeah.
So in addition to the counseling,
Yeah.
you offer vocational training, life skills
Yeah.
classes,
Yeah.
legal supports. Which of those support systems do you find has the greatest impact, and why?
Yeah. So they're all important, right? As we all know. But the biggest one I find is, what we would call professionally emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, has to do with self-awareness and self-regulation or self-control, and then social awareness and social regulation. So most of us guys, for example, if you said to me, Jaime, are you a roofer? Can you fix our roof? I'll say to you, I have no experience in roofing, wouldn't know how to do roofing, but if you want me to fix your roof, I'll try. I don't know what kind of roof you have afterwards, but I will try, right? So who hired me to fix the roof? Nobody. Well, then, so you couldn't expect me to be someone to fix your roof when I have no background or training that. Well, then how can you expect a man or a woman, a teenager, who didn't get the skills they needed growing up at home to be a healthy person or to function in a healthy way if they didn't get that downloaded onto them growing up in that child in their home? So that was, my situation. And so I needed to learn, how to manage my emotions, especially under pressure. And so what's the number one reason? Normally companies like the Fortune 100 companies, the Fortune 500 companies every year vote the number one reason why they terminate an employee. Well, it's always their attitude, right? It's never their ability, right? They're not competent. It's their attitude. So attitude has to do with emotional intelligence. So we try to teach the men that if you don't have self-awareness of what's affecting you in making bad decisions, for example, the way you treat your wife, the way you treat your girlfriend, the way you treat your kids, or the way you respond to your supervisor, your employer, or your coworkers, or your subordinates, then you're going to keep experiencing rejection, which obviously us guys suffer from rejection already. So we feel like no one cares. And then because we're self-sabotaging those relationships that we'll hear about later on in a video from one of the guys who graduated from Restart, where he needed to learn that for his marriage. Then how do I know that something's wrong if I'm not aware of it? So we teach them self-awareness, which is a life skill. Okay, do I have a problem with anger? Do I have a problem with being honest? Do I have a problem with low self-esteem, inferiority, no trusting or mistrusting, put my trust in the wrong people, etc. And then help them to know how to manage that. And then also to learn how to be aware of other people. Is Jaime a safe person to come work in Van and Jeff's company, right? Which I worked in retail sales, for many years, and obviously love that. So, because I'm a people person, right? So, and because when a customer comes into our company, right? If I'm working in your company, right, and I'm going to want they're coming into the showroom at your company. They're our guests in our home. So how would you treat your guests in your home, right? You treat them you roll out the red carpet treatment, right? Hey, can I get you something to drink? Or some snack? Have a seat. Hey, we're going to make a nice meal. Relationship, relate. So guys who come from my background, come from what we call dysfunctional backgrounds, and some, come from church backgrounds, missionary kids backgrounds, for whatever reason, they went astray, if you want to say it that way. But we teach them emotional intelligence so they learn how to manage. Because if they don't learn to have self-awareness, they're not going to have self-control, which means they're not going to change. Right? They're going to keep operating from a broken position, which normally, they don't last long in employment. Their relationships with the opposite sex doesn't last long because they destroy them, right? With their mouth, their anger, their violence, whatever is going on in that particular relationship. So that to me is huge. But obviously, because again, I can give them a good job, give them a job at your company, but if they are
the attitude's not there,
if they're hurting your customers, right? How long are they gonna last? Well, it's timed out instantly, right? So therefore, that's vital to their well-being.
Jaime, Amazing learning about all that you're doing there at Restart Training Ministry.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's so many different things that we could talk about. I want to hear some of the plans for the future. You've recently expanded. I think you told us your new facility.
Yes,
so
sir.
obviously you've expanded the capacity to help men. Your vision for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, and even beyond Lancaster, perhaps. Can you talk a little about the future for Restart Training Center?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so we were 7-8 years looking for a property, and obviously trying to capital campaign, raise the funds to purchase a property. And we were up until June of this year, we were renting an old farmhouse built in like the late 1800s. It was fairly dilapidated. What would you say? Only had 100 amp power in it. You could put air conditions. It would just pop the everything. There's just nothing would work well with electrical wise. And the Amish owner of the place didn't want to update it. And so we were there for, believe it or not, 10 years, which really is a miracle to be in Amishman's property that long. But finally, a businessman stepped up and say, yeah, I mean, really love what you're doing, how you're helping people in the community, how you're helping families. And he said, me and my wife decided we like to loan Restart the funds to purchase a new property. So he loaned us $1.25 million, gave us 3-year terms, first year, which is from June of this year to June next year, 0% interest. So right now we can save literally thousands of dollars in interest. And then the second year, he said, if we want, we only have to make interest payments. In the third year, obviously principal and interest paid off. So we were able to purchase this 10,000 square foot building that you're seeing here on the video, and move in here. The farmhouse we had no air conditioning. Here we have air conditioning, so it's 10,000 square feet. So now we can double our capacity here, so we can have up to 20 men in this facility. So we didn't have what we call second phase housing. So what would happen is when a guy completed the initial 6 months of Restart, we didn't have someone from the States, so they had to leave. And we try to find, another resource in the community to refer them to. Sometimes we could, sometimes we couldn't, because a lot of them, they want to go back to their old environments because they're afraid of, obviously going back to their addiction or criminal behavior, et cetera. So buying this new property then made it possible for us to provide safe housing for them after they graduate and give them 6 months, a year's time to work and save money, eventually to, be able to get their own place and be able to use us as a reference that as a landlord for 6 months, a year, they pay consistently. So that way, that's when they go in the community, right? Helps them make that wonderful transition. We have lots of relationships with lots of good business people in the community who will be open to consider them for employment. So they're that's a great resource we have to provide them. So now I've been in Uganda 3 times. My daughter works for another organization that does mission work there in Uganda. So I was there myself 3 times, and the 3 times I was there, the leaders of Uganda, the church leaders and the people got to say, Jaime, can you start a Restart in Uganda? So I said to him, I certainly will pray about that and would love to do that. And I said, but I first got to find a permanent home for Restart, so which we did. So we're in that position now, and obviously working on paying off the building through the capital campaign. So that's a dream we have for the next couple of years here, is to plan a Restart in Uganda. My oldest daughter recently got engaged to a man from Uganda, which is interesting. That wonderful young man doing a lot of good things for his people in Uganda. Very young man, but super, super gifted and intelligent. And then we have desire to maybe open up a Restart in Ohio. I have people there that are asking me to open one in Ohio. I got people in Puerto Rico want me to open one in Puerto Rico. And so a lot of requests there. So you kind of want to walk through the doors that, from my biblical worldview, where God wants us to be in the future. So that's the answer to that, Ben. Yeah.
Well, we were privileged to see the throughput and the proof in the pudding work that you shared with us a video that you want us to share with the audience.
Sir. Exactly.
So why don't we put a little bow on our time together? We'll play that video.
Great.
And then we'll give you the opportunity to share with our listeners and watchers how they can help you in those next steps. Sound good?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Enjoy the video.
Let's play that video.
Yep.
Restart Training Ministries definitely helped me to be a healthier person, to get prepared for marriage. So I was a very unhealthy person. Didn't even need to be in any type of relationship at all. So if it taught me anything, it prepared me to be healthier, to prepare me to be in a relationship with anyone of any kind. So
I knew he was one of the Restart grads, as I had gotten to know him through Lighthouse. So I saw him with the rest of the Restart people. And as we started getting to know each other, he shared pieces of his time at Restart. And I think what stood out the most was just the way he told me. He didn't let fear or shame or pride get in the way. He was very real and open with me, and I could see that he had processed things in a healthy way and was trying to live a life fully devoted to God. I've done some recovery myself on a different scale, but I know it's really hard to go through a program. You have to take a deep look at yourself and face some things that you didn't even know were there. And so, yeah, seeing him having processed those things in a healthy way, being able to handle his emotions well, and being able to communicate with me in a healthy way, and also being heard and understood. I feel like seeing him in full surrenderance and striving to live in complete dedication to the Lord, and just seeing his fire for God and hearing what the Lord is breaking off of him and what the Holy Spirit was revealing to him gave me a desire to go deeper with God. I wanted a relationship like that. I feel like he's just blessed us in so many ways, from little things that we put on the prayer list to bigger things that we never even thought were possible, or we never even thought to pray about. Just him helping us to communicate so well, being able to discuss anything, knowing that we'll be heard and find a solution. And yeah, I feel like as a couple, it's easy for me to be like a good helper. It's easy for me to be a submissive wife, knowing that the Lord is leading him and he can lead our family. And it just gives me the opportunity to thrive.
God has tremendously blessed my marriage, more than I honestly got time to explain, from financially to mentally to coming home to a peaceful home. Everything about my marriage is honestly just very peaceful. And it's the opposite of the childhood home. All of my days wasn't bad in that childhood home, but there are very good examples in the home that I currently reside in, and my marriage is very blessed because of it.
If you ever questioned whether your donations were making a difference or not, they absolutely are. I didn't know that marriage could be this amazing. And I owe it to Restart for pouring into my husband and giving him hope for a future.
If you're questioning if you should give to this program or not, I don't know, ask God. But I will tell you that it changed my life. I got a lot of healing through this program. My relationship with God has been tremendously blessed. And he blessed me with a good wife. He blessed me with the knowledge and the wisdom on how to provide for my family. And I'm just super thankful, and I thank you.
It's a powerful video.
Yeah, I don't know how much better it gets than that.
Yeah, I can't put a price tag on that,
Yeah. So that was Desmond and his wife's name again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Damon and Tina Eddings.
Yeah.
Damon and Tina Eddings, yeah.
So, this is what I love about the folks that we have on here. You aren't just helping Damon and Tina. You're helping their children I don't know if they have children. I guess they do.
Yeah, there's a little boy named Theodore right now, yeah.
Yeah, and probably more. Theodore is going to grow up in a loving home.
Yeah.
More than likely have his own family.
Yeah.
and Tina are going to be grandparents and great grandparents.
Right.
The mattresses we give to Off the Streets is an example.
Yep.
Generational. I've seen generational change there.
And
And that's what you're doing, Jaime, with your work. And so for our viewers and watchers, to help you perpetuate that work, what's the best thing that they can do?
Yeah, so one of the best ways they can learn about our different ways to partner with Restart is go onto our website. And on our website, we have our events page. So we do, so we're nonprofit, so we have to do, a lot of legwork to raise funds. So, for example, we just had our fall banquet. So our next event is we have Giving Tuesday. We're registered with Faithful Give this year. So we're doing Faithful Give for the first time this year. Our goal is to raise $72,000 for scholarships for gentlemen who are indigent, who want to come to Restart. That will help pay for 12 guys. We're also doing Giving Tuesday, which we need some new bunk beds. Maybe I can talk to people who sell beds, about bunk beds.
We might have some help there. Yep.
There you go. And so we normally use metal ones. And the reason we do is because that helps with, for the issue of bed bugs, right? So sometimes when you bring someone indigent, they may have bed bugs in their clothing. So that helps avoid that. So they can partner with us through Giving Tuesday. They can partner with us with Faithful Give. We have our Sweetheart Banquet coming up in the new year. I believe it's in January. We have our Sportsman Banquet, which is already, believe it or not, about 75% sold out. It's not till March of next year. So it's always sells out. It's a 2-day event and about 75% sold out. So wonderful event, our main fundraiser of the year. And then we also have our capital campaign. So yeah, any way people want to partner, there are several ways there. There's the events. We have Christmas with a Purpose. So normally we reach out to the community if they want to give towards for Christmas gifts for the guys this Christmas. We give them some suggestions there about how they can help with that. So whichever way they feel like, hey, I want. So there's a level of partnering for just about any giver there. So we're super thankful. This is pictures from our recent fall banquet where a lot of the graduates that's the assistant director is also a graduate. And he also graduated from Lancaster Bible College earlier this year. 4 years ago, he was a meth addict. So completely changed life. Frank Gasson's his name. Maybe you might want to get him on your podcast in the future. I also helped him start a 501c3 called Slow Down, which helps provide cheapy cars for guys who complete a program like Restart to have an affordable automobile and be able to drive. That's my wife there in the picture of me. Yeah, so this is Shady Maple.
Yeah, fantastic. Just fantastic. And I love how you created events that can, obviously we should give because we want to give and not necessarily get anything in return. But smart people create sportsman's banquets and Christmas with Chris and Giving Tuesday attached to those things. So very smart. Of course, the most obvious thing you could do is simply donate. And I guess you have donation button right on your page.
Yeah.
You want to just donate $20 a month and set that on repeat. People that over.
Yeah. So I'm also available if someone wants me to come to their private school or public school or to their youth event or men's event. So as a speaker, and I can teach on trauma, I can teach on addiction, I can address issues about forgiveness, just about any subject that people would deal with, I can address. So, the reason why we don't consider Restart a quote unquote a rehab, we call ourselves a training center, is because, we do marriage counseling with our guys. So tomorrow I have a meeting with one of the guys and his fiance. And so we want to be able to reach the family connected to him. So we want to invite his girlfriend or the mother of his kids, if they're not married, or his wife, to come and we do marriage counsel with them and help him to make his wrongs right with her. So one of the things you didn't hear I went back to Turkey Hill and made restitution to them after I completed my sentence, and asked for forgiveness and asked them, how can I make restitution for the being I caused y'all? I went back to wherever God would help me remember. My landlord, he lost me because I got incarcerated. So I went back and what I owe you for the months that I missed on that lease and paid that back. So, so we teach those principles here. So we're not just, trying to, get them sober, though that's an important part of it, but really teach them a completely different way of living, which is really to live with, as we would say, a productive citizen, a healthy human being in society who not only takes, but gives to society and help make society better, and then pay it forward, right? Duplicate what someone else has done. So if I show this, when I graduated from my bachelor's degree, my president of school told the story of this senator from Georgia. He said, if you see a turtle on top of a fence post in the meadow, he said, one thing the turtle did not get on that fence post by himself, meaning I did not get where I'm in my life today with a master's degree level education. Right. Someone was my teacher when I was a little boy, taught me how to read and write, how to count. The gentleman who became my spiritual father, serving Mennonite man named Henry Horst, came to visit me in Lancaster County Prison in 1988, and still in my life today serves on the board of Restart. Wow. So like my dad to me, right, him and his wife. And I lived with them for 3 years when I got out of Teen Challenge, and I watched how they communicate as husband and wife for 3 years. I watched how they address their children. They would actually sit down at the table to eat, something I never experienced as a child growing up, to sit down, have a meal with your family. So those are the things that helped me to be the man I am today, to get where I am today. And those are the principles that I try to pass on. So Michael Bland, the house manager, graduate Restart. Frank is a graduate Restart. Mike's working on his degree right now at Lancaster Bible College. This is my wife and two of my daughters. My youngest one lives in Greenwood, South Carolina, and the oldest one is here. She's the one that's engaged with the guy from Uganda. So she'll be moving to Uganda. This is Bob. He's a volunteer for almost 8 years as a teacher, 89 years old, had hip operation, back operation, and 2 other operations in the last year and a half, and still won't stop teaching.
Well, it's obvious as we approach the top of the hour, you're doing wonderful work there at Restart. Thank you for all your passion, all that you do for our listeners, for our watchers. I don't know how you're unable to connect to this mission of Restart Training Center and Ministry. Please check out all their links here on the show. And if you can find a way in your heart to give, please do so. We'd love to see that happen as a result of you being introduced to Jaime here with him and our time together. Jaime, you're awesome, man. Love you.
Tax deductible too, gifts. Yeah, so they get a tax deductible receipt. Hey, thank you again, gentlemen, for the opportunity, and thank you again for what you do for the community. Appreciate y'all so much.
Thanks for all you do.
Have a great afternoon, Jaime.
God bless for us today. Yeah.
Yep.
You too. Yeah, wonderful work. Wonderful work they're all doing there. The word holistic is what came to my mind when I saw the schedule. We didn't get back to it, but it was on the screen. You could go back and pause at about 30 minutes in, and you can see the whole schedule. You can look at their website too. I'm sure it's on the website. Yeah. It is on the website. That's where it came from. But it's all there. It's all there in the day for the men participating. They're not just lounging around. It's not. Very holistic, very restorative. If you didn't catch that, rewatch again. Great place to direct your money.
Yeah.
And you're doing good for our society and our community, quite frankly. You are.
Yeah. Unbelievable story he shared.
Yeah. You want to share your testimonial?
Yeah. So testimonial time. Again, Lancaster Connects is produced by Gardner's Mattress and More. So we had a testimonial or online review come in from Joan on Google over the weekend. So glad we decided to stop by Gardner's Mattress and More. Could not have asked for a better salesperson than Drew. I think this is 2 weeks in a row for Drew. Testimonials, no problem there. He was so informative and helpful. We absolutely did not feel pressured. There's that no pressure that Google likes to highlight there for us. No pressure to buy a mattress right then and there at that moment. He probably spent over an hour and a half with us, so obviously we did not feel rushed. We made our decision and gave him the sale. I'm comfortable with our decision, and the fact that we are not happy with our new mattress, they will make it right. So that's she's referencing our Wake Up Happy Comfort Guarantee, where we do it the best we can to make recommendations, and of course encourage you to spend the right amount of time to make the right decision. Yep. But hey, if you get it wrong, that's what the Wake Up Happy Comfort Guarantee is there for. Kind of a little safety net to help you wake up happy every morning. Yep. If it's not happening with the first one.
So you're not kept up because you made a bad decision.
That's right. That's the last thing we want.
Yeah. And my sleep tip is all about the water intake, which I've drank about 3 of these today. And so what I'm going to share with you, I'm going to exercise in actual practicality as we wrap the show. So, athletics, right? If you've had a kid in sports, drink water, especially in the summer, as we're into fall sports now, not so much of a thing, but you still need to hydrate. You need to hydrate so your body can do what it needs to do at night, right? The brain can flush toxins, your organs can do the same. But there's a balance. You don't want to be hydrating through 10, 11 o'clock at night. So plan that hydration a little earlier in the day, so you don't have to rush off to the bathroom like I'm going to do after our show. And you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to rush to the bathroom, right? Because your body will tell you, will wake you up. So you want to find that balance, right? And so, maybe 7, 8 o'clock, hydrate, and then cut it off. Don't eat foods that soak that up, like heavy foods, light foods, sugar-free foods. And you'll sleep a lot more soundly and wake up in the morning feeling better. So hydrate through the day for your activities and also hydrate for night, but cut it off about 7, 8 o'clock if you can.
Good tip.
Yeah, good tip. And we've got more in our Sleep Better book that we'll send you in the mail. Go to gardnersmattressofmore.com/sleep-better. You'll have us next week for our show. 35th anniversary event is going on now. Go to gardnersmattressofmore.com/sales. We'll talk with you more about that next week. And then we got some exciting guests the rest of October, all the way through November. And we'll be right back here with you Mondays at 2 o'clock on Lancaster Connects. Take care.